think I see this live on YouTube and Facebook. Let's check over here to make sure that it has shown up for everyone. It does look live over here, so I'm just going to share this out. We already have some guests that are with us, so we'll just jump right into it and just quickly let you all know all of our candidates that have been on this broadcast, all of the ones that have filed have been invited to today's segment. They've also been invited to next week. Next week is an in-person candidate forum. The difference between today and next week is that this is interview style. It's one-on-one. We're really getting to know this candidate both personally and, of course, as they're seeking this office here with us in City Council. And then next week, it's more of that forum style. The main difference is that delves deeper into those questions that we get from our audience, from our community, from our businesses, and we're wanting them to answer it in a quick, responsive way on how they feel about particular issues. The questions that we've been asking have not been provided to them ahead of time, nor will they be provided ahead of time over there. We truly don't want anything scripted. We want it as natural as possible, and that's why they don't get those. However, we may have one or two questions that are similar between one to the next here on today's segment, just to create that consistency and fairness. And we start with every segment being this intro, so we can be fair to one another with knowing that no one had an advantage of time or anything else in this process. I ask you, if you're tuned in with us, to hit the share button on this video so others in your network can also see that we're live, can maybe rewatch us at a later point in time, which leads me to the next comment. That's good afternoon or evening or morning, whenever it is you're tuned into our segment broadcast. Any questions that you type into the chat, we won't pull up onto the screen. The candidate does have an opportunity to go back and find any questions that might be there to answer with you, but for purposes of the time and for the flow through of how we envision this, there won't be any questions that are taken up from you. With that, I want to go ahead and jump right into it. Bruce Baker has been on our city council not once, but twice, a couple of times. He's even taken a little hiatus, come back, and now he's been in his term and he's up for re-election, so he is our incumbent with us. Bruce, I hope I didn't butcher that too much. I'm pretty sure you took a little bit of a break and came back to us renewed, re-energized, and ready to bring forward some thoughts and ideas. So let's tell folks, if they haven't met you yet, who Bruce Baker is.
Bruce Baker is someone who wants a better destiny for the city of Westminster. And I am so disappointed with the people that I joined with 2 years ago when we promised the residents lower water rates. And yet somehow we have the same plan, a worse plan than the previous council had, because we took their terrible plan and made it worse. And what this is going to do is, we already have some of the highest water prices on the Front Range. Next year, we're going to pay $7.09. I had calculated at $7.08, but when the final thing came out, it's $7.09, whatever, a penny. Right to the north of us, Broomfield pays less than $4. Fort Collins pays less than $4. Pueblo pays less than $4. Even Denver itself pays $4.47. And we're paying $7.09? And this is on a council who promised lower water rates? What it's going to do is it's going to make worse the situation here already. If you go to the affluent neighborhoods in town, they're beautiful, green, the trees are fine. If you go to other areas of town, a third of the lots are dried up. The trees are dying. We are, in effect, rationing water by using price. And I think that's outrageous. And I can't understand why my colleagues, or even most of the candidates running, two of them understand well, because they're running with me. But the rest don't seem to be able to see what's going on in our city. That's why I'm running.
So what are some of the goals that you hope to achieve if you're reelected?
I would like to get a real second opinion on the need of the new water plant. I don't think we need one. I don't think we need one. We have already squandered $45 million pursuing this. And I don't think we need a new one at all. And I've had some inexplicably different answers from city council when we put real answers on the line, and we got ridiculous answers from them, not city council, city staff. And the council has to rely on staff. And if we're not getting honest, accurate information from staff, there's a huge problem. And I think there is a huge problem. Okay. I don't think we need a new water plant. Boulder, Colorado, had a plant called really Batasso. And it was built 7 years before Semper was built. And it does 40 million gallons a day. And Semper does 44. Same technology, same methods, blah, 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 blah. And really, Batasso had been backed off to 28 million gallons a day because they couldn't get a good, clean product. Okay. They spent $30 million. They're back up to 40 million gallons a day, and they're good for 20 years. We can't do that? I think we can. It's just that the staff has had this Water 2025 plan, and they've invested so much of their reputation into it. We actually made a pilot water plan that had ozonation and blah, 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 blah. So they're really proud of it, and they really want it, and they've been using any method to get their way. And that's why a council who 2 years ago promised to give us lower rates bought into this ridiculous plan. I think they were swindled. I think they were swindled. And that's why I'm very upset about it and very mad at it. And this is the last chance for the voters. If the voters don't choose Ireland, Schilling, and Baker, we're going to be paying some of the highest prices for water from now on.
So what are some of the ways that you have, so let me start with this. What are some of the skills that you have applied presently when you've been on council, and some of the things that you hope to continue to apply from your own experience that you feel can support you achieving this particular goal or other goals that you have on your radar?
Okay. I have the time to research, and I have a natural curiosity. I want to know why. So I look, that's not shared. That's not a universally shared thing. And research takes a lot of time. And then you got to sift it and say, well, is this true or is this internet BS? Okay. And if I have some colleagues on there who have the courage, because that's what's needed, is courage to bring these really difficult problems to the public discussion. And even though I thought I had 4 rock solid colleagues 2 years ago, my colleagues are really kind, generous, empathetic, accommodating people. And they pull back if they see conflict. Conflict hurts their hearts. And they don't have the courage to go for it, even when the very destiny of our city is dependent on it.
Mm-hmm. So I'll ask you a question based off of how you just responded to me. How do you handle conflict?
I embrace it. Okay. As long as you have conflict with someone you really trust and have connection with, it can be a good thing. You know, my family, and this is where I get it from, my family grew up on it all the time. My dad would, say, come on, bring it on. Show me your evidence. Show me your evidence. And because we were a family, no matter what the difference was, we weren't going to ever hate each other. And I have a real concern that some of the interpersonal relationships on council today are hate.
How do you feel that you've dealt with pressure now, or how do you generally deal with pressure in general?
I miss sleep at night. Talk to my wife. She worries about me all the time. She asks me, you come back with a grumpy face from meetings. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. And your answer?
Because of the importance of it, is because what do we leave as our legacy to the people who come after us?
Mhm.
Do we leave them a divided city between the affluent and the not as affluent, between the really connected people and everyone else who's not connected? I mean, what we've done at the Uplands was terrible. We basically overturned a 20-year policy we had about not allowing metropolitan districts. And at the Uplands, we allowed a metropolitan district, which just allows that developer to make 60 million extra dollars. And he shifted that cost on to the future homeowners in increased property tax. They'll have to pay 140% of the property tax their neighbors pay. That's wrong. We're over our 10 minutes.
We are over our 10 minutes. I know, and I hate to cut you off, Bruce, but I was waiting. So I know that yes. So yes, we're slightly over time. I have to cut
Rules
us
are
off.
rules, and I believe in following the rules.
I know you are, and I was keeping my eye on it too. But I want to encourage all of you that are on here, whether it's now or later, this is a snapshot of candidates. Truly go out and do your research. As to Bruce's point earlier, do your research, read about them through their campaign page, read about them on what comes up so you can know who they are when you're actually voting for them at the poll, regardless of party affiliation. This is council. This is, you want whoever you feel would be your best representation, take on the interests that you feel are most significant and important. Outside of today's conversation, we're back on with everyone next Thursday in person at City Hall. We do hope that everyone can make it. It is adjusted to in late afternoon, evening times. It's around the 4:30 mark, if I'm not mistaken. You can find more details here on our Facebook page. It's also on our chamber website, as all of the candidate information and pages are as well on our website. Please be sure that you hit the share button on this video so others in your network can see that we're live. I want to thank all of you that have tuned in with us, and I see quite a bit of you, Christine, Andrea, Brian, AJ, Dave. Thank you all for tuning in, for commenting, for liking, for engaging on all these streams that we've had. Do your part in educating the public as well. Bruce, stay with me while I exit out, and thank you so much for being